The way the powers of attorney work with the IRS is number one, it's an IRS Form 2848. When it gets filed, you must be even more specific as far as what tax type this includes and what tax years. So for example, for personal income tax, it's personal income tax form 1040, and you must include the years. If we do not include the particular tax year tax form, the IRS will not have a conversation regarding those specific years. Some agents go actually above and beyond, and they're not going to talk about anything whatsoever because you excluded maybe 1 year that's a bit older or something like that, which sucks. But the way it's changed maybe very recently how we submit the 2848 to the IRS. Now, typically, and the way it's ran, is probably the very best way to get the things to the IRS. And that is that it required for it to be printed, pen on paper signature, and then fax to the IRS. And I mean fax to the IRS. Typically, the IRS has this power of attorney unit that processes powers of attorney to keep them on file. This is known as the CAF unit with the IRS, a CAF, for the Centralized Authorization File Unit. And what they do is every power of attorney has their own CAF number, and the CAF number gets assigned to this particular taxpayer, to the client. That way, whenever you disclose your CAF number, they associated that with the taxpayer and you have open communications. So, but what happens if there's an emergency situation like a bank levy off a new client? You need to discuss things with the IRS. There are two other methods how the IRS processes the 2848 with them. The first one is that us as a tax professional, we have our own login under the Tax Pro account where the power of attorney, if it's physically signed, we could go ahead and upload it. But the power of attorney can be e-signed by a client. And this is with a KBA authorization, which is a knowledge-based authentication. And so basically it asks additional questions regarding somebody's identity that's tied basically to their credit report. And it asks questions such as where do you live? Did you have certain things financed, certain credit cards, certain this, that, and the other? So if you do pass those measures, then the e-sign goes through and then that's an official measure with the IRS. We could go ahead and upload that to the IRS system. And if so, then we just say, was this electronically signed remotely? We put yes. And of course, on the penalties of perjury, did the client authenticate their identity? We would put yes, they did, through the KBA method. A different situation would be that we send an e-sign request, but it's all done through the IRS e-services account. That means through the IRS system, we go ahead and put the tax years, the tax type, and we send that over to the client, where the client has their own IRS.gov account. They log in and they authorize the power of attorney through that system. But however, the different measures of uploading the power of attorney and the other e-sign system, it creates different hiccups if a client has an emergency situation because there could be processing delays. Sometimes the IRS had processed these within about a 2 to 3 day turnaround time, which is extremely fast with the CAF unit. But lately, sometimes you wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's still not processed, which creates that hiccup. That sometimes the old school method of just faxing it to the CAF unit might work. But where it differs is if somebody has an emergency situation, we could be literally on the phone with the collections department of the IRS, and with an agent over the phone, they have their own upload link where they don't even have an e-fax anymore. So that's why when somebody has an emergency level type of situation, when we have a wet ink signature, we could call up the ACS collections and do what we have to do to stop the collections, reverse the bank levy, stop the wage garnishments, because one of the e-sign methods will not work. The e-sign methods are going to be rejected by these agents. So when we have a wet ink signature with an agent online, agents are now taking an upload link. Now this upload will go directly to them. They generate a code. That code is very temporary. When we upload a document, they'll get it instantly. Way better than e-faxing, which is why the old school method might work over the e-sign, because the e-sign method may not be accepted instantly by any agents. They'll say, hey, this looks like an e-signature. Unfortunately, I'm not able to accept this. It sucks.